Giants star Dexter Lawrence has demanded a trade, and there are rumors the Packers have already made a call about trading for him. Green Bay is also a possible landing spot for a future Hall of Famer, and signs are pointing to him wanting a change of scenery. And Kirk Cousins chose not to sign with the Packers. He's headed to Las Vegas instead. I've got what Green Bay is planning now for its backup quarterback spot. I'm Jacob Brandenburg, and this is The Green Bay Packers don't have a first-round pick as we creep closer to the NFL draft, but the team is looking into some other options to try and improve the roster. Now, before we get to all that, thank you for clicking on this video. The channel has jumped up to 674 subscribers and counting in just over the last week. That's awesome to see, very encouraging. The Packers truly have the best fan base in all of sports, and an international fan base also. It's got me even more excited for this upcoming season, which I think is actually going to be very successful, and growing this channel with all of you. Now, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can get those notifications anytime there's a new video. Also, I would love to hear from you in the comments about what's going on in this video or anything else Green Bay Packers related. On Monday, New York Giants All-Pro Dexter Lawrence demanded a trade. Within minutes, there were reports that the Green Bay Packers were among the teams asking about how to acquire the massive defensive tackle. Lawrence's combo of size and athleticism would allow him to play in any defensive scheme, including filling a big hole in the middle for Jonathan Gannon and the Packers. Now, it's expected that at least a Quinnen Williams-type offer will be needed to pry Lawrence away from New York. If you need a reminder of what that deal was, the Cowboys traded a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and Mazi Smith, which is a borderline starting defensive tackle, for Williams back in November. Well, the Packers don't have a first-round pick in this year's draft or next year's draft. Both of those were used in another blockbuster trade to acquire Micah Parsons. That was worth it for a player like him, as it would be for a player like Lawrence, but Green Bay doesn't quite have what it takes to offer what these other teams can that would probably be more enticing for New York. Also, I looked up draft needs for the New York Giants and what their team's kind of missing right now. Defensive tackle was one of the primary things mentioned. Despite having Lawrence on their roster, that's still a weakness for their team, stopping the run a problem as well. So they'd obviously want to keep Lawrence and try to build around him on that defensive front, not trade him away at this point. Cornerback is also a big need for the Giants. Unfortunately, that's not really a strength of Green Bay's team either. We're looking to add at that cornerback spot, so I doubt there's anybody on Green Bay's roster that really excites New York, where they'd want to make that a piece of a trade for one of their franchise players. We can dream, but the price and the competition to try and trade for Lawrence just seems to be a little too much for what Green Bay can offer. However, there is another D-line move that is more doable. Saints legend Cam Jordan is currently a free agent, and reports say that Green Bay could be a landing spot for the future Hall of Fame pass rusher. Jordan has played his entire 15-year career with the Saints and is in the top 20 of the NFL's all-time sack list. And yes, Cam Jordan is about to be 37 years old, but he's coming off his best season in years with 10.5 sacks, 15 tackles for a loss, and 2 forced fumbles. Yet it seems the Saints aren't eager to pay Jordan what he is still worth. He recently tweeted out, "RESPECT shows. Neglect grows. I'ma keep working towards a better version of me." Sounds like maybe he's not wanting to return to New Orleans. Jordan's expected value is around $7 million per year, and say he wanted to double that, go up to 14 after having such a great season, well, Green Bay could afford that as well. Even $20 million a year, which is a lot for one player, especially a veteran defensive end. But the offseason moves that Green Bay made have given them the flexibility to make a move like this. At 6'4" and about 290 pounds, Jordan has the size to play defensive end in the Packers' return to a 3-4 defense, while also still being a disruptive presence in pass rush situations. Cam Jordan has a big personality and is somebody I think Green Bay fans would love. He'd also bring a veteran presence to that defense, which is something I think you can never have enough of, especially with a young team like what the Packers have. Switching gears, it has now been confirmed that the Green Bay Packers were interested in signing Kirk Cousins as a backup quarterback. However, as you've probably seen, Cousins chose to sign with the Las Vegas Raiders instead, who are expected to draft Fernando Mendoza here in a few weeks. I expect this means Cousins will start at least at the beginning of the year for the Raiders as they try to bring Mendoza along slowly, and that makes sense that he would choose to go somewhere he could start right away instead of coming in as a guaranteed backup behind Jordan Love. But that still leaves the question, what are the Green Bay Packers going to do at backup quarterback? After the Cousins signing, articles are now saying Green Bay is the best spot for Anthony Richardson. The number 4 overall pick in the 2023 draft struggled with injuries before being benched by the Indianapolis Colts. To this point in his career, Richardson has thrown more interceptions than he's thrown touchdowns, and is coming off a very strange year where he suffered a broken face during warm-ups, and that injury cost him most of 2025. But we just saw Matt LaFleur revive Malik Willis's career, which, trust me, if you look back, looked as bleak as Anthony Richardson's does now. In fact, Willis was so good in his 2 seasons playing in Green Bay that I've seen some of you say you wish the Packers had kept Willis as QB1 instead of Jordan Love. Now, Richardson is entering the final season of his 4-year rookie contract. That will cost close to $11 million against the cap. That more than doubles then in 2027 if the team picks up his 5th-year option. That is a hefty price for a backup, but maybe part of the trade to take Richardson off of Indy's hands could be to make the Colts pay some of that money. It's definitely one of the more riskier options at quarterback for the Packers, especially if we do need someone reliable to fill in for Jordan Love. But on the plus side, Matt LaFleur's proven he can do something with an athletic quarterback like Richardson and could win games if Richardson's needed. Now, if you don't like that option, the Packers could also pursue a backup in free agency. Russell Wilson only started 3 games for the Giants last season and is going to turn 38 this year. But he can still turn back the clock like he showed throwing for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns against Dallas last season. Dangerous can be a bit of a weirdo, but he still has plenty of fans in Packer country for his one legendary season at Wisconsin. He also plays a similar style to Jordan Love, so it could be a fun pairing. A safer option could be Jimmy Garoppolo, who is 34 right now and has played for both Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. He'd have no problem picking up Matt LaFleur's version of that same system. But Jimmy G has only started 1 game over the last 2 seasons while backing up Matthew Stafford, so it is really uncertain what kind of player you're getting. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see Green Bay do with its backup quarterback job. Would you want to acquire one of these guys I just talked about, or maybe go with Desmond Ridder, who is already on the offense and kind of fits that Anthony Richardson mold of a higher draft pick who didn't work out in his first stop, but maybe can be revived in Green Bay. That'll do it for today's show. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you later this week with more Green Bay Packers news, rumors, and updates.